Games and art go hand in hand. Artists are instrumental to creating the worlds that we inhabit when we play games, be that card games or board games.
So with that in mind, we commissioned 4 artists to create original pieces of artwork inspired by Disney's upcoming card game, Lorcana, and we can't wait to show you what they came up with.
For this project, we asked 4 incredible artists to create original artwork inspired by Disney's Lorcana. They watched the game trailer, looked at the cards, and read news releases. Then, they each created one piece that was designed to connect with Lorcana's players of all ages.
We wanted to see how the themes, the sense of adventure, the diverse genres would inspire them to create something new and fantastic.
To ground the project even more, we asked them to create designs for a playmat. For those new to card games, a playmat is basically a neoprene mat with a fabric top. Kind of think a giant mouse pad. These mats define your play area and protect your cards. Oftentimes, they feature amazing artwork that may or may not be related to the game. They are statement pieces for any player, and sometimes they are quite collectible.
And in case you're wondering, yes, there's going to be official Lorcana playmats. You should look into them because they're probably going to be amazing. So with that, we're excited to introduce the first artist, Nana Key.
To give you an idea of her art style, here is some of her work. When you commission an artist, oftentimes there's a back and forth between the artist and the client as the work progresses. So what we have right now are not the final pieces, but they are grayscale sketches, which would serve as the foundation for the final piece. So with that, here's Nana's introduction and her piece.
Hi, my name's Nana Key. I've been a professional artist for over 3 years and have created for Magic the Gathering, Disney, and many more. I was so excited to be invited on this project and had the idea of some adventurer mice and their hawk about to set sail for a high seas adventure.
So Aaron, I don't know about you, but I absolutely love this piece. And honestly, because we worked with all the artists to bring these pieces to life, I think we love all these pieces. So we're not exactly unbiased. And so we've brought in a panel of some of our favorite Lorcana fans and content creators to comment on these pieces and give us their impressions. So with that, let's introduce our all-star panelists. First up, we have Jared, or as you may know him, Citizens of Lorcana from Twitter or his podcast. Hey, Jared.
Hey, how's it going?
Good and well. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Next, we have the amazing Stephanie from Lorcana Illumineers. Hey, Stephanie.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
Hey. And we have James Reimer, Lorcana superfan, one of our very first subscribers, and I think he may have some Lorcana projects up his sleeve as well. So follow him on Twitter and look out for those.
Zippity-doo-dah.
So you all just had a chance to see it. What do you think about this first piece by Nana Key?
I actually really like it. It gives me vibes, the same vibes of the Rescuers. It kind of looks like they're on a hawk, and it feels like they're in Neverland and they're flying to, I know there's no pirate skull and bones on that ship, but it looks like they're flying to Captain Hook's ship, and like they're on an adventure, and that's the next leg of their adventure, and they have to go retrieve something. It's fun, it's fanciful. I really like this piece.
Yeah, I actually thought of the same exact thing when I saw it. Jared, that pirate ship, I'm coming into Neverland. And I think that kind of is a fun concept because we're starting to merge a lot of these storylines in Lorcana and like seeing how these cards react to each other and these new like Dreamland or Floodborn or Floodborn or Hero or whatever. And I think that, so her concept of like potentially mixing these storylines was really interesting to me. So
I love that. And overall, this mat is sort of up my alley in terms of the types of playmats that I usually gravitate to. Can I show a mat on screen? Yeah. So I usually like 2 types of mats, very minimalistic, or more like this style that's very like
having my face.
One big focal image, but
That's
also
awesome.
There's so much layering and depth to it. There's almost like 7 or 8 different layers, from the rocks to the lens flare to the character. And I think they're hitting a lot of those things that I love about playmats. That feels like it's taking you to a different location and setting while you're playing. One other thing that might not have been intentional is a lot of people put their decks in the top right, like their decks, their graveyards, etc. So kind of leaving that little bit of empty space there, that negative space for that to kind of sit over there feels really good. I love the balance here.
Yep. Yeah, when the artist can like bring in the user of the player into their mat and like know where the empty spaces are and then make the art shine underneath, it's like, whoa, you nailed it, you know?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, for sure.
So Nanaki is a wonderful artist. It was super fun to work with her. For this next piece, it's an artist that actually was a friend of hers from school who was really excited to take part, and we're excited to look at his piece.
Our next amazing artist is Dennis Lubenski. We're going to show you some of his work. I think his use of color and texture and detail is just so rich and deep. I am really excited to see what the final piece of his playmat could potentially look like. With that, Nana's going to introduce his playmat.
Friend Dennis Lubenski also contributed some of his art to the project. He was inspired by our childhood bedrooms and the play and imagination of our youths, the center point being the explosion of the ink droplet into a multitude of characters and creatures, displaying the creativity of the mind of a young person. I know he had just as much fun as I did with his concept sketch, and I hope you enjoy seeing both our ideas.
So this one I really loved. I love the fact that it looks like you're in your bedroom, and I can relate to this so much because as a kid, I was a voracious reader, and you can see there's the ink quill, the ink pen, and you can see the ink dropping. And I can just imagine this girl, Archer, jumping off the page. She looks like the protagonist. The guy on the left with the sword, I don't know if he's friend or foe. The wolf definitely looks like an antagonist. And then the mouse is a friend. And it's just fun to imagine this story coming alive in your own bedroom. So I think it would make a great playmat too, but for me, this captured the essence of Lorcana really well.
That's awesome. I agree. I think this playmat captures like the hype of a tournament or just playing with your friends. Like there's some playmats that I just want to like hang on my wall, and then there's other ones that I'm like, yes, let's go to battle. And like this one is like hyping me up to like go play Lorcana. So I love it.
The hype man. I love that. It kind of takes me back to like 90s, early 2000s commercials where like they tend to play into this. The kids have an imagination and they're having this adventure in their bedroom, and then their mom comes in and everything goes back to normal, almost like a ghost story. And he's coming vibe. Like it kind of gives you some of that story of like whenever that door closed and I'm in my own world and reading a book, I'm getting engulfed in the fantasy. I feel like they're all in my room with me, and as soon as someone comes in, I go back to being normal, laying on my bed. I think that's kind of what I feel from seeing this. I love the layers, love the storytelling.
Oh yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Our next artist is Seda Coşkun, a very talented freelance artist with a style that we just absolutely love. Now, Seda is from Turkey, and I do have to mention, after she sent us this playmat design, Turkey was hit with a terrible earthquake. And we checked in with Seda and she's okay, but she did send us the names of several charities and organizations working in Turkey who she said we could donate to in order to help out the people who've been affected by the earthquake. Those links are in the description below, and we encourage you all to check out those organizations and help if you can. So with that, we'll let Seda describe her piece.
Hi, my name is Seda and I'm a book illustrator, character designer and freelance artist from Izmir. Art has been always a passion for me since I was a child, and now my dream is my job. I work with studios, publishers, brands and some global clients. When Erin and Liam reached me for this playmat project, I thought this will be fun. I wanted to illustrate an unexpected fantastic scene. A princess running away from giant robots with her cute robot friend in another planet, and here is my illustration.
So this one's already checking a lot of the boxes of just like the layering that I love to see. And I think the biggest thing here that really brings in the theme of Lorcana is sort of this mashing together of worlds, even more than anything else we've seen so far. It's sort of this feeling that there's this medieval princess woman in the middle surrounded by like a dystopia and robots. And it just feels like those things do not belong together, but there's something magical about them being in the same space.
Yes, I agree. I am a huge sci-fi nerd, and the fact that James already said it, but the fact that you're like, yeah, these two worlds are coming together, and you have this little like friend bot or whoever this guy is in the background, like, is he your best friend? I don't know, but I want to hang out with him, so I'm into it. I'm into this mat.
The little floating guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks pretty cool.
For me, it felt like she kind of looks like Princess Ariel, but like she is transported into the year 2450. And she has her little friend robot, but it's like they've reached the singularity where humans and robots are trying to decide if they can get along. I don't know. That's the kind of the vibe that I got from it.
Yeah. That's her scuttle?
Oh,
That's right.
Oh,
Scuttle.
yay! That's
A
awesome.
Robo Scuttle.
Yeah.
I'm now calling that robot Scuttle.
Okay, so next up, we're going underwater with artist Ryan Lee. Ryan is an artist for Magic the Gathering, and his work is absolutely stunning. We were super honored that he wanted to be a part of this project and create a playmat for Lorcana. I'm going to let Ryan introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Ryan Lee, and I'm an artist with Magic the Gathering. And this is a sketch that is going to serve as an underdrawing for a future illustration. And you could kind of just see it's pretty simple, easy, fun, and features a mermaid who's very happy to see you. And she has some friends in front of a sunken ship. And it was a lot of fun to paint this. And I hope you enjoy looking at it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Thanks.
I definitely sense the magic vibes coming from this, but also it tells that story, of the Little Mermaid being underwater and the sea creatures, and I could see if they had cards that were themed as underwater or, sea creatures or whatever. This would be the kind of deck that I could see myself playing, or this would be the kind of playmat I could see myself playing on.
All I do, I just feel like busting out singing, like, look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Like every time I see anything air related, but I build that song constantly on a daily basis. But I really do love what Jared said. It feels like he's really bringing in that magic fantasy illustration style that's pretty associated with fantasy and magic in particular. But like it is bringing in those those Disney characters, but making them so realistic and fantastical.
Yeah, that's awesome. I am super drawn to the jellyfish. Like, I don't know, there's some story there. I don't know what it is, but I want to know more. Like, I want to play map of the jellyfish.
Is that her flounder?
Yeah, her flounder. And then, like, I also want to know the story behind that ship. I don't know, there's like levels of stories here that I want to be told. Like, I want more info. Like, I want to zoom into this playmat and go like next. So yeah, I think there's some really cool like storytelling layers here in this one.
Yeah, the shipwreck in the back is another fun, similar to the pirate ship in Nanaki's mat in the beginning. The shipwreck was actually a late add, and it was the result of like collaboration between us and the artist as he finished up the initial sketch, and we were looking for ways to add another layer of mystery to this piece. It's neat because to me it highlights how some of the best art comes from a collaboration between multiple people, the client and then the artist, and together you can explore a piece and bring it to life in a way that one person on their own may not have been able to.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you're a creative or you're in a creative field, you sort of know what the power of constraints does for your work. Like whenever you're starting off as a creative, you can do whatever you want with a blank white canvas. You can do anything, and the possibilities are endless. But when someone gives you that constraint of, hey, make sure you use blue, hey, make sure you include this object, it allows you to be more creative and think outside the box in ways that you wouldn't have done on your own. And so I love those constraints that really make you think outside the box.
I love that.
So
that.
true.
Yeah. So now that we've had a chance to see all of the pieces, we want to ask, we're gonna ask you all which one your favorite was, and maybe which one you want to see as a final piece. And they may be the same, they may not be. But Stephanie, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to the hype mat. I really would love to see that. I really want to play on it. It gets me really pumped for August when all the cards come out and we get to start playing together. So yeah, Dennis's piece was brilliant, and I'm excited to see all the colors that come into that.
Hey, what about you, James?
Drum roll, I gotta go with Nanaki. For me personally, it fits the style of playmat that I really gravitate towards. Feeling like the main focal point is right there in the right proportions, and then everything else is kind of layered in the background, sort of trailing off into an area where you might put your deck or wherever it might be in the top right corner. And the watercolor art style that she kind of does with her pieces, I feel like that applies really well here. It matches the fantasy and the collision of worlds that Lorcana is trying to have included in its theming. So I'm excited about that one.
Jared?
The one that I like the most is the one by Dennis with the book and the characters, the glimmers jumping off the page. For me, that just captures my imagination. But the one that I'd really like to see finished is the one by Seda. I really like her artwork when we were looking on her Instagram page, and I would like to see what this looks like as a finished product.
And to finish it out, Aaron, which is your favorite?
I The very first piece that we received or that I saw was from Dennis, and I instantaneously fell in love with it. And I just don't think that instant connection to it has ever changed. But yeah, I have to go with Dennis's piece. I just absolutely have loved it since the moment I saw it.
I love all of these pieces. I'm not gonna lie. Part of the magic was being involved in the creation of it and helping the artist bring them to life through iteration. But I'm also gonna give Ryan some love and say the underwater scene. I think it takes you to another world because blue underwater. His art style is great, and I really want to see what he does with that shipwreck in the background. And maybe in the next iteration we can bring some more sea creatures in. So I'd love to see what Ryan does with the finished piece as well.
Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. It's always such an incredible honor and pleasure to get to collaborate with all of you on a weekly basis on Discord and on Twitter. So we're just so grateful that y'all came to give us your thoughts on these playmats.
You know, Aaron, one of the things that I really love about these projects is getting to interact with amazing people like these other Lorcana content creators and fans. You should follow them all on social media because they're all awesome.
Yeah, and also let us know which of the playmats was your favorite. Drop us a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
And also, check out these artists, follow them on social media, links down below. They're wonderful. You won't regret it.
Yeah.